In today's lesson, we are going to study how a given condition affects or changes the probability of occurrence of an event. We perform a random experiment. This is a container having 5 blue balls and 2 pink balls. The experiment is to pick up a ball at random. Since all these balls are similar except for the color, therefore, each of these balls is an equally likely outcome. Suppose the event is to draw a pink ball, then the probability of the ball drawn is pink will be equal to 2 upon 7. But suppose after the draw you are told that the ball drawn is not blue, then what is the probability of the event ball drawn is pink? If the ball drawn is not blue, then naturally the ball drawn must be a pink ball, and therefore, the probability of the ball drawn is pink when the ball drawn is not blue will be given by 2 upon 2, which is equal to 1. Thus, we found that for a given condition the probability of the occurrence of an event changes. We perform another experiment. Suppose in this container now we have 5 blue balls, 2 pink balls and 3 green balls. The experiment is to pick up one ball at random. Therefore, again the sample space will have all the 8 balls as equally likely outcome. Suppose the event is to pick up a ball which is pink, and after the draw you are told that the ball picked up is not blue, then will the probability of the occurrence of this event change? You will expect that the ball drawn will be picked up from 2 pink balls and 3 green balls. So, when the condition was not given, in that case the probability of the ball drawn is pink is equal to 2 upon 10. But when the condition has been imposed that the ball drawn is not blue, then in that case the probability of the ball drawn is pink when the ball drawn is not blue will be equal to 2 upon 5, that is the number of pink balls upon the number of pink balls plus the number of green balls. Probability of occurrence of an event calculated under a given condition is called conditional probability. In a random experiment, if E is an event and F is an event which is known to have occurred, then the probability of event E when it is known that event F is occurred is written like this, and it is given by the number of elementary events favorable to the occurrence of the event E and F upon the number of elementary events favorable to the occurrence of the event F. We can explain this by a diagram. If E and F are 2 events in the same sample space, that is they are associated with the same experiment, then the probability of the event E when it is known that event F has already occurred, for this event F becomes the sample space if this is event E, and this common space which represents event E and F becomes the new event. If M is the number of elements in the set defining the event E and F, and capital M is the number of elements in the set defining the event f, then probability of event E when it is known that event f has already occurred is given by small m by capital M. If we divide numerator and denominator by n, which is nothing but the number of elements in the sample space, then we get probability of event E when event f has already occurred equal to this m upon m n is the probability of event E and f upon this m upon m represents the probability of event f, with the assumption that probability of event f is not equal to 0. With a similar approach, we can have probability of event f when event E has already occurred equal to probability of event f and E upon probability of event E, with the assumption that probability of event E is not equal to 0. Remember that events E and f are associated with the same sample space or with the same experiment. We can also express these relations as probability of event E when event f has already occurred equal to probability of event E and f upon probability of event f, or probability of event E and f equal to probability of event f multiplied by probability of event E when event f has already occurred. Also, probability of event f when event E has already occurred is equal to probability of event f and E upon probability of event E, or probability of event f and E is equal to probability of event E multiplied by probability of event f when event E has already occurred. We perform a random experiment. A coin is tossed twice. So, in the first toss we may get a tail, in the second toss we may get a head. Similarly, again if we toss the first toss we get a head, in the second toss we again get a head. So, like this the sample space can have 4 equally likely outcomes, 2 tails, 1 tail in the first toss, second tail in the second toss, or 1 tail 1 head, or first head then tail in the second toss, or 2 times heads in the 2 toss. Now, event E is defined as getting both heads or both tails. Event F is defined as getting at most 1 head. Event E will have favorable outcomes, 2 tails or 2 heads, therefore 2 upon 4 will be the probability of event E, that is equal to 1 upon 2. Event F is defined as getting at most 1 head. So, the favorable outcomes for event F are getting 2 tails, 1 in the first toss and another tail in the second toss, or 1 tail 1 head or 1 head 1 tail. Therefore, probability of event F is given by 3 upon 4. Also, probability of event E and F, there is only one favorable outcome for this event E and F, that is getting 2 tails, and therefore, probability of event E and F is given by 1 upon 4. Now, we have to find out first of all probability of event E when event F has already occurred. this is equal to probability of event E and F upon probability of event F, that is 1 upon 4 upon 3 upon 4. This is equal to 1 upon 3. Again we have to find out probability of event F when event E has already occurred, that is equal to probability of event E and F upon probability of event E, that is 1 upon 4 upon 1 upon 2. This is the probability of E and F and this is the probability of event E, and this is equal to 1 upon 2. Thus, we have seen what is conditional probability and how it can be calculated. But given a condition, does the probability of occurrence of an event always change? We perform a random experiment. A card is drawn from an ordinary pack of cards. Since there are 52 cards in an ordinary pack of cards, each identical, therefore, the sample space can have 52 equally likely outcomes. Now, event A is defined as getting a black card, and let event B be defined as getting a king. Since there are 26 black cards in this pack of cards, so event A will have 26 favorable outcomes, and therefore probability of event A will be 26 upon 52, that is equal to 1 upon 2. Event B is the card drawn is a king. Again, as we have just now seen, there are 4 kings in a pack of cards, and therefore the favorable outcomes for event B will be 4, and therefore probability of event B will be equal to 4 upon 52, that is equal to 1 upon 13. Also, probability of event A and B, that is a black card which is also a king, will be equal to 2 upon 52, since there are 2 black cards which are also king. This is equal to 1 upon 26. Now, suppose we have to find out the probability of event A when event B has already occurred. It will be given by probability of event A and B upon probability of event B, that is equal to 1 upon 26 upon 1 upon 13, which is equal to 1 upon 2, which is nothing but probability of event A. Again, let us suppose that we have to find out probability of event B when event A has already occurred, that is given by probability of event A and B upon probability of event A, which is equal to 1 upon 26 upon 1 upon 2, that is equal to 1 upon 13, which is nothing but probability of event B. Thus, we found that probability of event A when event B has already occurred is equal to probability of event A. This means that given the condition that event B has already occurred does not change the probability of occurrence of event A. Similarly, we found that probability of event B when event A has already occurred is equal to probability of event B. So, similarly here also it means that the condition that event A has already occurred does not change the probability of event B. Such events are called independent events, and for independent events A and B, probability of event A when event B has already occurred is equal to, as we have just now calculated, probability of event A and B upon probability of event B, that is equal to probability of event A, as we found just now. This implies that probability of event A and B is equal to probability of event A multiplied by probability of event B. But if the events are not independent, then probability of event A when event B has already occurred is equal to probability of event A and B upon probability of event B, but it is not equal to probability of event A. And therefore, in case of not independent events, probability of event A and B is equal to probability of event B multiplied by probability of event A when event B has already occurred. This is called rule or theorem for multiplication of probability. We now perform a random experiment. The experiment is tossing a coin and getting a head is the event defined on it. So, there is only one favorable outcome, and therefore, probability of event A, that is getting a head, is equal to 1 upon 2. We perform another random experiment. This experiment is throwing a die and getting a number greater than 2. There can be 4 equally likely outcomes for this event. So, this event has 4 favorable outcomes, therefore, probability of event B is equal to 4 upon 6, or it is equal to 2 by 3. If we combine these two events, that is tossing a coin followed by throwing a die, then let us see what happens. In the sample space, we can have, when we toss a coin, we get a head. At the same time, when we throw a die, we may get 1. Similarly, we toss a coin, we again get a head, but when we throw a die, we may get 5. So, thus the sample space will have 12 elementary events, head on the coin and 1 on the die, similarly head on the coin and 2 on the die, and so on. Now, event A, which was defined as getting a head, is also associated with this combined experiment, and for this experiment, combined experiment, there will be 6 favorable outcomes for event A, and therefore, probability of event A will be 6 upon 12, which is equal to 1 upon 2. Event B, which was defined as getting a number greater than 2, is also associated with this combined experiment, where we get head on the coin and 3 on the die, similarly H4, H5, H6, here T3, T4, T5 and T6. So, there are 8 favorable outcomes for event B, and therefore, probability of event B is given by 8 upon 12, which is equal to 2 upon 3. Again, probability of event A and B, that which says that getting a head on the coin and getting a number greater than 2 on the die, will have 4 favorable outcomes, and therefore, probability of event A and B will be equal to 4 upon 12, that is equal to 1 upon 3. Now, probability of A into B is equal to 1 upon 2 multiplied by probability of B, that is 2 upon 3, and this is equal to 2 upon 6, which is equal to 1 upon 3 again. Thus, we find that probability of A and B, which is 1 upon 3, is equal to probability of A into probability of B, because it is also equal to 1 upon 3. And thus we can say that the two events A and B are independent. This result is always true for two independent experiments if one event is defined in the first experiment and the second event is defined in the second experiment. For two events which are associated with the same experiment, their independence may be decided after we have calculated probability of event A, probability of event B and probability of event A and B. Also the condition probability of event A and B is equal to probability of event A multiplied by probability of event B is satisfied. But if two events are associated with independent experiments, then their independence may be decided with the physical description of the experiments only. For example, we may take the two experiments here, throw a die and drawing a card from a pack of cards. These two are independent experiments because they do not affect each other when these experiments are being performed. Another example we may take is, a problem is given to two students A and B. A attempts a problem and B attempts a problem. These are two independent experiments again, because A attempting a problem does not affect B attempting the same problem. So, they are independent experiments, and therefore, we can apply this result that probability of A and B is equal to probability of event A into probability of event B, or probability of event not A and not B is equal to probability of event not A multiplied by probability of event not B. We now solve a few problems to understand the use of these results. A problem is, a box contains 3 pink and 2 green balls and another box contains 4 pink and 3 green balls. One box is selected, each of the two boxes being equally likely. From the selected box, a ball is drawn, each ball being equally likely. Find the probability that the ball drawn is green. Now, the event ball drawn is green from one of the selected boxes may occur in two ways. If we name the two boxes as A and B, then the first way in which it can occur is, box A is selected and the ball drawn is green when box A has been selected. The second way in which it can occur is, box B is selected and the ball drawn is green when box B has been selected. Now, event A is selecting box A. So, probability of event A will be equal to 1 upon 2. We have to find out probability of event A and drawing a green ball from box A. That is equal to probability of event A multiplied by probability of drawing a green ball when box A has been selected. But as we have just now said that probability of event A is 1 upon 2 and probability of drawing a green ball when box A has already been selected is equal to 2 upon 5. So, we have 1 upon 2 multiplied by 2 upon 5, therefore, probability of event A and green ball selected from box A is equal to 1 upon 5. Again, probability of box B, event B and G2, that is box B is selected and the ball drawn is green is equal to probability of event B multiplied by probability of drawing a green ball when box B has already been selected. But probability of event B, that is selecting box B, is again 1 upon 2. So, this multiplied by probability of drawing a green ball when box B has already been selected is equal to 3 upon 7, and therefore, this is equal to 3 upon 14. But these two events are mutually exclusive, and therefore, we can apply the result for mutually exclusive events. So, probability of the ball drawn is green is equal to probability of A and G1 plus probability of B and G2, which is equal to 1 upon 5 plus 3 upon 14. So, this is equal to 29 upon 70. We now solve problems which we have discussed in our previous lesson. One of the problems which we discussed there is a couple, husband and wife, appear for an interview. Event E is the event which says husband is selected, and event F is wife is selected. Suppose we are given that probability of event E is equal to 1 upon 5 and probability of event F is equal to 2 upon 9, and there are more than 2 posts. We also assume that the two events E and F are associated with 2 independent experiments, the experiments being husband appear for an interview and wife appears for another interview. So, the probability of both husband and wife being selected will be equal to probability of event E multiplied by probability of event F, since they are independent events, which is equal to 1 upon 5 into 2 upon 9, that is equal to 2 upon 45. Next, probability of only husband being selected and not wife, that is probability of E and not F, is equal to probability of event E multiplied by 1 minus probability of event F. So, 1 upon 5 into 1 minus 2 upon 9, that is equal to 1 upon 5 into 7 upon 9, which is equal to 7 upon 45. Next, probability of at least one of them being selected, that is either husband or wife. So, probability of E or F is equal to probability of event E plus probability of event F minus probability of event E and F, which is equal to 1 upon 5 plus 2 upon 9 minus 2 upon 45, which is equal to 17 upon 45. Next, suppose we have to find out the probability that neither husband nor wife is selected, that is probability of not E and not F. That will be equal to probability of not E multiplied by probability of not F, which is equal to 1 minus probability of E, which is 1 upon 5, multiplied by 1 minus probability of event F, that is 2 upon 9. This is equal to 4 upon 5 multiplied by 7 upon 9, that is 28 upon 45. We can also find probability of at least one of them being selected, that is E or F, by the formula 1 minus probability of not E and not F, as we discussed in the earlier lesson, which is equal to 1 minus 28 upon 45 from here, and that is equal to 17 upon 45, which is the same result as we got earlier for this event E or F. Thanks for being with us.